Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and we are going to look at past paper questions. You have already seen the trailer in the previous one. I have picked up some past paper questions from the recent years. This one is from MJ 2024 and from paper 1-3. And this is question 1 of that particular paper. Okay, so we are looking at find the coefficient of expansion of x square. Yeah, which means this whole thing that is raised to 10 and then multiply with this, and then finally whatever is the coefficient of x square, that is what they want. Okay, perfect. So let's go step by step. Step 1 is going to be, we are going to find the coefficient of x square in expansion of 1 plus 3x the whole raised to 10, right? 1 plus 3x the whole raised to 10. Now if you remember, how would we expand this using the formula? The highest power goes to the first one, that makes it 1 raised to 10. Nothing else is over there because 10c0 again is 1 and 3x the whole raised to 0 is also 1. Then you have 10c1 1 raised to 9. See, the power of 1 goes on decreasing now, and 3x the whole raised to 1 plus 10c2 1 raised to 8 3x raised to 2 plus dot dot dot. That's it. I'm not going to expand it further because that's not required over here. So that is 1 raised to 10. 1 raised to anything is 1. 10c1 will give me 10 times 3x plus 10c2 gives me 45, and 3x square is actually 9x squared. If I simplify this, it becomes 30x plus 45 times 9 is 405x squared plus dot dot dot. Trust me guys, if you have shown the expansion and if you have written this and this, you are already getting 2 marks until this point, which means even if you do partial working and it is the correct working, you do get some points over there out of 4 marks. Okay, now the next thing is, obviously we don't have to stop here because that is not my ultimate answer. If someone writes that as the ultimate answer, they won't get full 4 marks, they will get only up to 2 marks. Fine. What is my step 2 then? Okay, so step 2 is where I'm going to multiply 2 minus 5x with all those terms in this expansion, which will lead me up to x square. Okay, so in place of 1 plus 3x the whole raised to 10, what I'm going to write is this expansion over here. Okay, and that expansion is 1 plus 30x plus 405x squared plus dot 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 dot. Okay, now let us understand one logic over here. What we generally do in expansion is we multiply this with each and every term inside the bracket, then we multiply this with each and every term inside the bracket. Now what my concern is that if I multiply this with this, am I going to get anything with respect to x square? No, 1 times 2 gives me only 2, so that does not involve x at all. In fact, if I multiply this with this, I will get 60x, which is also least concerned with x square. My only concern is x. Okay, which means if I multiply this with this, that will give me something, and that comes out as 910x square. This is my concern. So oops, sorry, it's not 910, it's 810. Oopsie. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah. 810. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to multiply 2 with each and every term. In fact, I'm going to multiply 2 only and only with that term, which is going to be helpful for me in finding coefficient of x square. So I'm going to multiply 2 with 405 x square. That makes it 810 x squared. Okay. Now let's look at the same thing with 5x, rather minus 5x. Minus 5x multiplied with 1 gives me minus 5x. Okay. Then minus 5x multiplied with 30x, 3 5s are 15. So that gives me minus 150x square. Woohoo! So that is what I am interested in. And if I multiply minus 5x with this, the x and the x square, when get multiplied, it forms x cube. Am I interested in x cube? No, not at all. Which means, what am I going to multiply? I am going to multiply minus 5x with 30x only. Okay. Perfect. Let's go for it. Minus 5x times 30 is minus 150x squared. Then what do we do about the rest of the terms? We are just going to say plus and dot dot because we are not interested in that, and the examiner is also not interested in knowing what happens after that, right? So if you do the math over here, it gives you 660x square. What is the question? The question is find the coefficient of x square. That is your final answer. So your answer should be coefficient of x square. If you write it this way, they are going to know that you have a method, you have a style of showing your answer. Coefficient of x squared equals 660. That's it. Perfect. And that is going to fetch you another 2 marks. If you show the multiplication over here, you get that 1 mark over here, and the final answer, which means over here also, in this step also you get the 1 mark. So 2 and another 2, that makes it 4 marks. Okay. So this is the type of question that they're going to test you on in the board exams. Okay. Let's look at another one. Let's look at a little more difficult. Instead of saying difficult, let's look at a different type of question. Okay. Now this question over here is again from MJ series from 2024, and it is from paper 1 2. I think it is from 1 2. Let me check. It is from 1 2. Coefficient of x square. Yes, that's right. And this is question 1 from the same paper. Okay. Perfect. Let's look at this. What are they asking? Let us remember, guys, reading the question is the most important thing over here. So it says the coefficient of x square in the expansion of this is 12 times the coefficient of x square in the expansion of this, which means there are 2 expansions that I have to do, and then I have to find out something that is unknown. Looking at this, I'm sure you would have guessed, okay, we would have to find the value of a. Now they are asking positive constant, very important. The most important term here in whole of the question is positive constant a. We tend to only read find the value of a. That's it. We miss out on reading positive constant. Please don't do that in the exams. It will cost you 1 mark at least. Okay. Out of the 3, if it costs you 1 mark, you're already 1/3 away, right? Okay. Let's go for this. Let's expand 1 minus 4x the whole raised to 6 in step 1. My step 1 should be about expansion of 1 minus 4x the whole raised to 6. Okay. When I'm expanding this, I'm going to expand it until where? Until I reach the coefficient of x square. Now, I'm sure if you have practiced a little bit of expansion of binomial, then you would have understood that obviously from our understanding of a formula also, that the power of 1 goes on decreasing, the power of 4x goes on increasing. And if you want x square, that means in the first term the power of x is going to be 0, in the second term the power of x is going to be 1, in the third term power of x is going to be 2. And that is why this is raised to 6, so it will be 6c, and whatever the power of x over here, or whatever is the power of the second term in the binomial from a and b, whatever is the power of b, goes in the bottom of c, 6c2. Yes, times, if that is going to be 2, I'm sorry, yeah, if that is going to be 2, then to form or to add up to 6, 1 has to raise to 4, and 1 raised to anything, any which ways doesn't matter, it is going to be 1. Yeah, times negative 4x the whole raised to 2. So whatever comes here and whatever comes here is none of our concern, none of their concern also. So what are we more going to be focused on? We are going to be focused on what happens for minus 4x the whole squared. Okay, so if we look at only that, what am I getting? 6c2 minus 4x squared, that makes it 6c2. Let's check out what is 6c2. It is 15. 15 times minus 4x the whole squared, 4 squared minus 4 squared would be 16 x squared. What is 15 times 16? It is 240. So 240 x square. What do I have now? I have the coefficient of x square in the expansion of 1 minus 4x the whole raised to 6. That was my step 1. Okay, this is one thing that I have to remember. Step 2 is 2 plus ax the whole raised to 5. I have to expand 2 plus ax the whole raised to 5 until where? Until I reach x square. So can I do the same shortcut over here as I did in the previous one? The first one will have x raised to 0, the second one will have x raised to 1, and the third one will have x raised to 2, right? So what is the third term going to be? This is 5, so it should be 5c, and the power of x is going to be over here, so that's 5c2 times 2 is going to be raised to 3, and ax is going to be raised to 2. How do I know which term will get which power? Something is by observation, like in the first one you'll have 2 raised to 5, then you'll have 2 raised to 4, and then you'll have 2 raised to 3. That is one by observation. Another observation is that whatever comes here goes as the power of the second term among the a and the b. Okay, so what we have here is 5c2, and 5c2 should be 10. 2 raised to 3 is 8, and this becomes a squared x squared. That makes it 80 a squared x squared. What do you think is the coefficient of x square? Coefficient of x square is 80 a square. 80 a square, right? That is my second one. If you have found out 240 x square, and if you have found out 80 a square x square, if you found out both, yeah, and if you have equated them, why to equate? They have said that coefficient of x square in the expansion of 1 minus 4x the whole raised to 6. So coefficient of this, like 240, is going to be equal to 12 times the coefficient. Oh, so don't you think 240, which is the coefficient from step 1, should be 12 times the coefficient of x square in 2 plus ax the whole raised to 5. So that's 80 a squared. Yes, you just have to do the math further. So 240 divided by 12 times 80 is a squared. That gives me 8 threes are, that's 4. So you have a square equals 1 over 4, which means a should be plus or minus square root of 1 over 4. When you do that, you will get plus or minus 1 over 2. But in the question, they have already mentioned positive constant. So focus on the positive one only. Since a is positive constant, hence, what are we going to do? Therefore, a should be plus half only. You can leave it as half. If you like decimals, you can leave it as 0.5. Anything is fine. Okay. So, great. Perfect. Let's move on to one more question of a similar type. Now, this is the one of the first type that we had seen. So, it's a mixture of first and second. Let's look at this one. This is going to be our third question, and obviously this is also from the May-June series 2024, and this is from paper 1-1, and this is also question 1. No, this is question 3 from that paper. Okay. Perfect. Let's look at this. Find the value of constant a. They are saying the coefficient of x cube in the expansion of this is this much. Okay. Coefficient of x cube is what I need in the expansion of this. Okay. So 3 plus ax the whole raised to 6. And when you expand, you get, if it is raised to 6, you will get how many terms? You will get plus 1, which means 7 terms. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, right? Over here the power of x is going to be 0, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, I'll write the other ones also. Yes, that is going to be x raised to 6 over here. Fine. Now what we are more interested in is x raised to 3. We are interested in x raised to 3. So as you had looked at, a little trick from the previous question. In the previous question, we said that the trick that we can use is 6c, and the power of x goes in the bottom of c. 6 choose 3. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Times, if that is going to be raised to 3, this guy is also going to be raised to 3, because this is 3 raised to 6, 3 raised to 5, 3 raised to 4, and this is going to be 3 raised to 3. So 3 raised to 3 times ax the whole raised to 3. So what is 6c3? 6c3 is 20. Oops, pardon me. Okay, 20 times 3 raised to 3 is 27, and this is going to be a cube x cube, right? So what are they saying? Coefficient of x cube in the expansion of this is this much. We already know that the coefficient, don't you think coefficient is all of this except the x cube? So that should be equal to how much? 160. So I'm going to write it that way, and I'm going to find out the value of a. Okay, so this gives me 20 times 27 times a cube equals 160. So let me cancel out the zeros from here. That gives me a cube equals 16 over 2 times 27. So 2 8s. Okay, so that's 8 over 27. If you take the cube on the other side, it becomes cube root. Sorry, I'm going to continue over here. That makes it cube root of 8 over 27. 8 is a cube of 2 and 27 is a cube of 3. So your value for A should be 2/3. Okay, that gives you the 2 marks that are required. Perfect. Moving on, hence find the coefficient of x cube in the expansion of this. Woo. So I think you have already done step 1 in part A, and step 1 is 3 plus ax the whole raised to 6. I have already found out the coefficient of x raised to 3 in expansion of 3 plus ax the whole raised to 6, and the coefficient is 160x cube, right? But when you multiply 1 minus 2x, just like how we saw in the previous question, when you multiply another bracket, there is something else also that this thing gets multiplied with. If you look at this question, if you remember, see 2, when the 2 got multiplied with this, you got an x square term, but when the minus 5x got multiplied with the x term, which was not even the required one, but we had to multiply this with an unrequired term to get the required value, right? So this is going to be a similar scenario over here, and that is why I cannot only write this much and leave it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a little bit of expansion over here. 3 plus ax the whole raised to 6. So the expansion can look somewhat like this. 3 raised to 6 plus 6c1 is going to be 6 times, okay, let me write it, 6c1 times 3 raised to 5 ax raised to 1 plus 6c2 3 raised to 4 ax raised to 2 plus, for x cube, can I directly write 160x cube and then plus dot dot dot, because anything multiplied with power greater than x cube will give me x raised to 4, and we don't want to go there, we only want to stick to x cube, right? So this gives me 3 raised to 6, which I don't need to further expand. 6c1 becomes 6. 3 raised to 5, here I need what is 3 raised to 5, so I'm going to expand it and I'm going to write it as whatever the value is, that's 243 times ax plus 6c2 gives me 15. 3 raised to 4 is 81, and this is a square x squared plus 160x cube plus dot dot dot. Yeah. So my final expansion for this one should be 3 raised to 6 plus 6 times 243 gives me 1458 ax plus 15 times 81 is 1215 a squared x squared plus 160 x cube plus dot 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 dot. Yes. Now why did we do all of that? Because we don't know what is going to happen when you multiply with 1 minus 2x. So my step 2 is going to be all about what happens when you multiply with 1 minus 2x. Okay, so 1 minus 2x multiplied with 3 plus ax the whole raised to 6. Okay, what am I going to do? I am going to only write the expansion till the point that it is needed. I'm going to just copy paste the expansion from above. Right? Good part is we already know the value of a. Can we not substitute and directly find out what is the expansion over here instead of a? We could do the expansion. 1458 times 2 by 3 gives me 972. Okay, so I have replaced a with what? 2 by 3. Why with 2 by 3? Because that's what we got it in the first part or in part A. Okay, 1 to 1 5 gets multiplied with a square, so that's 4 by 9. That gives me 540 x squared plus 160 x cube plus dot 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 dot. Okay, what am I interested in? My interest is x cube. Okay, so if I'm multiplying minus 2x with x, I will get x squared. If I multiply minus 2x with x square, I will get x cube. So this is one multiplication that I'm interested in. What is the other multiplication? I need x cube. So x cube term over here getting multiplied with the constant also gives me x cube. If you multiply x cube with 2x, you will get x raised to 4, which is what you are not interested in. So we don't go there only. So 1 getting multiplied with 160, that it makes it 160 x cube, and minus 2x getting multiplied with 540 x squared. Okay, what do we write after that? Plus dot dot dot. Okay, so what do I get over here? 540 times 2 gives me 1080. So 160 x cube minus 1080 x cube plus dot dot dot. So 160 minus 1080 gives me negative 920 x cube. And what have they asked? What is the coefficient of x cube? So don't you think that is my coefficient? So in your answer, what you'll write is coefficient of x cube is minus 920. Okay, perfect. So we have an understanding of how do we work with binomial expansion type questions that come in past papers. Yes. For now, I'm going to stop here. I have a collection of few more past paper questions which are a little bit similar, but they definitely hold different value, and this is one question that I will be discussing in my next video. So stay tuned, and time to say goodbye. Bye bye. Have a good day.